Storyteller voice, engaging tone. They laughed when the millionaire said, "Let's invite the maid's son to play chess, maybe he'll clean the board better than his mom cleans the floors." But no one was laughing an hour later, when that little boy did something that shocked every single person in the room. Before we begin, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay till the very end, because this story will remind you that genius has no color, and respect knows no class. It was a chilly Sunday morning when Olivia, a single mother and housemaid, arrived at the grand mansion of the Varners. The house was a fortress of wealth, marble floors, chandeliers, and art pieces that probably cost more than she made in a year. She'd been working for the Varners for 3 years now, quietly cleaning up after their lavish parties and spoiled guests. No one paid her much attention, except Mr. Varner's wife, Victoria, who liked to give her sarcastic smiles and comments like, "You should be grateful, Olivia. You get to breathe millionaire air every day." Olivia would smile politely and keep working. What they didn't know was that at night, after long hours of mopping and dusting, she would sit by the kitchen table with her 10-year-old son, Elijah, and teach him chess. It was something her late husband had taught her, a game of patience, intelligence, and quiet confidence. And Elijah, he learned fast. Too fast. Within a few months, he was beating her effortlessly, and even started solving chess puzzles far above his age level. He didn't have toys or video games like other kids, but he had something better, a dream. "Mom," he'd say, his big brown eyes full of determination, "one day I'll be the best chess player in the world. Then you won't have to clean anymore." One evening, as Olivia cleaned the Varners' study, she overheard a conversation. Mr. Varner and his friends were hosting a small gathering, a group of wealthy investors and intellectuals who often played chess for fun. Mr. Varner prided himself on his strategic mind, even though he mostly lost to his smarter guests. That night, one of the guests joked, "You should try playing against someone who might actually let you win, Varner." Another chuckled, "Yeah, maybe your maid's kid can give you a fair fight." The laughter filled the room. And that's when Mr. Varner smirked and said, "You know what? That's actually not a bad idea. Let's invite the maid's son. It'll be hilarious." They all laughed louder. The next morning, as Olivia was scrubbing the stairs, Mr. Varner told her casually, "Bring your boy tomorrow. We're having a little chess challenge. It'll be fun to see him play with real players." She hesitated, unsure if it was an opportunity or a mockery. But Elijah's eyes sparkled when he heard, "They want me to play, Mom. I'll do my best." The following evening, Elijah arrived at the mansion in his cleanest shirt, a faded white one with small tears at the sleeve. His shoes were old, but he had polished them until they shone. The guests chuckled as the little boy walked into the room, clutching a small worn-out chess book under his arm. "Welcome, young man," Mr. Varner said with a smirk. "Ready to take on the big boys?" Elijah nodded politely. "Yes, sir. I'll try." They sat across the grand mahogany table. The board was set. Pieces gleamed in the light like tiny soldiers waiting for command. Everyone gathered around to watch the show. The first few moves were casual. Mr. Varner played confidently, grinning every time Elijah hesitated. But after a few turns, the smile started to fade. Elijah's moves became sharper, faster, more precise. He began setting traps Mr. Varner couldn't see coming. "Interesting," murmured one of the guests as Elijah sacrificed a knight to deliver a crushing checkmate 5 moves later. Mr. Varner blinked in disbelief. "Wait, what? How did?" Elijah smiled softly. "It's called the Greek gift sacrifice, sir." The room went silent. "Best of 3, Mr. Varner muttered. Elijah agreed, and they played again. This time, Elijah demolished him in 18 moves. Then again, in 12. By the end, the laughter had turned to stunned silence. The same guests who had mocked Olivia's son now stood around him, amazed. One of them whispered, "This kid, he's not normal. He's a prodigy." Another asked Elijah how he learned to play so well. Elijah simply said, "My mom taught me." Every eye turned to Olivia, who stood quietly by the doorway, tears glistening in her eyes. That moment changed everything. One of the guests, a famous chess grandmaster named Victor Henson, approached Olivia and Elijah afterward. "I've never seen such raw talent," he said in awe. "He has what we call perfect board vision. Let me train him." It was like a dream. Within months, Elijah began traveling with Victor, entering tournaments, and astonishing everyone he played. His name started appearing in newspapers, the Maid's son who outsmarted millionaires. Sponsors came forward, scholarships followed, and every time Elijah won, he would turn to his mother in the crowd and whisper, "We're almost there, Mom." Years passed. Elijah became one of the youngest international masters in the world. And when he was finally interviewed on television, they asked him what kept him going. He said, "People laughed at us. They thought my mom was just a maid. But she was the first person to believe I could be more. She taught me that brains and heart matter more than money and name." The audience stood up in applause. And as for Mr. Varner, he watched the interview in silence, realizing the biggest lesson he'd ever learned didn't come from his wealth or his social circle, but from the little boy he once mocked. Storyteller voice. So the next time someone underestimates you, remember Elijah and his mom. Genius can come from anywhere. Love, faith, and resilience can turn even the humblest home into a kingdom. If this story touched your heart, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs hope today. Because the world needs more people who believe in each other, just like Olivia believed in her son.